I've worked on the SCP Foundation for years and helped to hide the most impossible and dangerous things. Now, I think it's time for the world to know the truth. For decades, the SCP Foundation has contained entities that defy logic, entities that rewrite the rules of human understanding. But among them, few are as dangerously manipulative as SCP-035, the possessive mask. This isn't just an object, it's a predator, a master manipulator, hiding behind porcelain and tragedy. Today, we dive deep into the terrifying history, experiments, and failed containment efforts surrounding SCP-035, and the disturbing truth of what happens to anyone who dares come close. It all began in a forgotten wing of an abandoned theater in southern Italy. A porcelain comedy mask, resting inside a locked display case, cracked, worn, and yet, somehow, staring. Local reports mentioned the object moving on its own. Visitors swore they heard whispering voices when standing near it. When the Foundation recovered the artifact, initial testing teams believed it was just another harmless, anomalous item, but the truth was far more sinister. Unlike most SCP objects, SCP-035 didn't wait for analysis, it introduced itself. The moment researchers opened the containment case, a voice emerged. Smooth, eloquent, disturbingly charismatic. A male voice, deep and theatrical, like an actor addressing an unseen audience.
Good evening, gentlemen. I was beginning to think you'd forgotten about me.
The voice didn't come from speakers. It didn't echo from the room. The sound seemed to materialize directly inside the ears of those present. Startled, researchers scrambled to document this event. When asked how it was speaking without vocal cords, SCP-035 simply laughed.
Oh, don't concern yourselves with details. We have much to discuss, and time, well, it's such a fragile thing, isn't it?
From that moment forward, Foundation staff knew this was no ordinary artifact. Communication sessions with SCP-035 became routine, but the mask was far from cooperative. Despite its charm, it wielded language like a weapon. Psychological manipulation became its primary tool. Researchers exposed to 035's voice for extended periods showed dramatic personality changes. They became more aggressive, deceitful, violent. Some fell into deep depression. Others had full psychotic breaks. Worst of all, personnel began to turn on each other. Fights broke out in observation rooms. Security teams were called in multiple times to restrain affected staff. One senior researcher, after a particularly long interview with 035, was found dead in his quarters, having written the word "free" over and over on the walls in his own blood. When asked why it does this, SCP-035 replied with a sinister chuckle.
I simply speak the truth. What people choose to do with it is their decision.
Naturally, the Foundation has considered destroying SCP-035, but every attempt has failed. Incineration, the mask remains intact. Chemical dissolution, no effect. Even direct containment with other destructive SCPs, including led only to further damage to the facility, while SCP-035 remained untouched. Worse, when attempts to destroy it intensified, SCP-035 became more vocal, more aggressive. During one such attempt, researchers recorded it laughing for over 6 hours straight.
You can't kill an idea, and I am a very old idea.
Termination has been postponed indefinitely. For months, SCP-035 remained unusually quiet. No new containment breaches, no behavioral anomalies, just silence, until Incident 035-27A. It started with a junior technician. His task was simple, routine maintenance inside the observation chamber. All standard protocols were followed. He was monitored the entire time. but witnesses on the audio feed reported SCP-035 beginning to speak the moment the technician entered.
You look stressed, overworked, unappreciated.
Despite warnings over the intercom, the technician lingered. Then, with trembling hands, he accessed the room's control panel. Within seconds, multiple containment doors across Site-19 opened. Several SCPs, all classified as Euclid or higher, breached containment simultaneously. Panic swept through the facility. As alarms blared, SCP-035 stayed in its chamber, unmoving, untouched. Surveillance footage later showed the technician collapsing moments after releasing the locks, blood seeping from his eyes and ears. Autopsy revealed massive cerebral hemorrhaging, consistent with intense psychological trauma. When Foundation personnel finally regained control hours later, SCP-035 was found, sitting neatly back on its pedestal, exactly as it had been before. The only audio captured from the mask that day.
That was entertaining.
Since then, containment protocols for SCP-035 have been updated. No personnel are allowed inside its chamber alone. No conversations are permitted, and psychological screenings have become mandatory for anyone even remotely assigned to the object. What is SCP-035? Some suggest it's a consciousness, a mimetic entity, perhaps even a fragment of something much larger. Others believe it's tied to ancient rituals, demonic possession, or worse. What's undeniable is its intelligence. 035 doesn't lash out physically. It waits, it talks, it persuades, and every failed containment, every manipulated mind, every death, all began with a single conversation. And as long as the mask exists, it will keep talking, waiting for someone to listen, and for someone to obey.